Back again. I didn't say right. Right. As you can see, I've got everything nicely laid out. I don't think so. So we've got our resistors, ceramic capacitors. What are these two things? Filters. Two ceramic filters. And we've got a diode. We've got our two transistors, crystal, electrolytic capacitors, and the other components where we can see them. So first of all, we want to solder. I always start with the resistors. You can start with what you like, I suppose, but I go for the resistors. And we'll work left to right. And the first resistor I can see down in the bottom here. Come in. Right, this one here, 10 ohm. Right, so we know what we're going to do now. We're going to go over to our electronic system assistant, and it's already got 10 kilo ohms listed, so I click on what it says, kilo ohms, and click on ohms, and we change to brown, black, gold, it says. So now we go over to our little heap of resistors, and here's a brown, black, gold. Now the colours, especially when you've got a 5 band and they're a blue colour to start with, the colours never look right. You can get the brown and a black, but what I'm looking at looks like silver, but it's not. With experience, I've learnt it's actually gold. But what I'm going to do is just check that we're in the right realm. So I'll just switch on my ohm meter, which is multimeter, which is in the drawer next to me. You don't have to see that, do you? I ain't going to tell lies. Put that on there, and we're getting a reading of 10.1 ohms. So that's got to be it, hasn't it? That's him. We've got him. Gotcha. Now, just for neatness, I'm going to put the primary colour, brown, to the left on all x-axis components. Not that it does any good, it just makes me feel better. And what I do is I just bend the legs like that first, close to the resistor like that, and then you'll find that they will just locate in the two holes pretty easily. So we can drop that one in, that leg in there, and that leg in there, and it will go down to the bottom. I just hold my finger on it like that, and I just tweak the two legs out like that, and that holds it on the board without it falling off. So now we can move on to another one, and the vertical ones I'm going to keep the brown or the primary colour going to the top. It won't make any difference, but it's what I'm going to do. Right, so the next one we look at is there, R6, and it says 10k. So not much doing with the software. All we have to do is click where it says ohms, which I put in before, and click on kilo ohms, and there we come back to that first one we tried, which was brown, black, red. Brown, black, red. So we just have a little poke at our resistors. And see if we can find a brown, black, red. Whee! And there we go. Don't know if you can see the colours or not. I can't see them unless I'm using my magnifying light. So that says brown. I'll just check. No, I'm wrong. That's not brown, black, red. That's brown, green, black, orange. So it's difficult unless you got the light. Oh, come on. Should be able to see two blacks, shouldn't we? Brown and 3 blacks. Probably I should have gone through them to start with and put them all in their proper places. Brown, green, orange. Green, blue, black. Oh dear. Like pickup sticks, this. Ah, brown and 3 blacks. Come on, there's got to be one here somewhere. Oh, I'll drop one on the floor now. That's done it. That has done it. Brown, black, red. Hey, we've got him at last. I'll just have to have a quick look for the one I dropped on the floor. Hang on a sec. Found him. Oh, one other thing I was going to mention about this kit is you do get quite a few spares, which is good. Most of this here is left over from the other one. Some of these stripy things, the connectors, I've just put in there, but I had spare capacitors, screws, resistors, all sorts, buttons, which is nice. Some of the things are exact quantities, like these filters and the coils and other things, but you get a few extras of certain things. Right, back to the job in hand, and here we go, looby loo. Again, bent pretty close to the end of the resistor, and we're going primary colour to the left, and it was a 10k, and it goes there. Bend the 2 legs. Next, another 10k. Come on, black, red, jump up and hit me. Brown, black, red. God, I bet there's some poor bugger in China painting all these little coloured stripes on the resistors by hand. So that's another 10k, and that's R5. Resistor 5. Same orientation, pop him in, spread the legs, as they say. Right, next resistors, these 2 at the top. And we've got one 150k and one 560 ohm. So 150k we've got to put in the calculator. 150 kilo ohms, and we've seen that one, haven't we? Brown, green, black, orange. We've seen him. Come out wherever you are. We've seen you. You was here lurking before. Brown, green, black, orange. Found you. And as I say, you can always check that you've got the right one by just switching on your meter. And making contact with the legs. And that one says 148 kilo ohms, which is, I say, all these are, damn it, as near to swearing as you can get. You know, they're not right on the money. And we're going to put the primary colour to the top, so he pops in there like that. And I'm not showing you what I'm doing. I don't know whether to be closer in or further away. That's the problem. And he goes, spread the legs, and he'll stay there. The other one was 560 ohms. It's a marvellous bit of software. It's worth dropping on a few bob. 560 ohms. Green, blue, black, black. That should be fairly visible, surely. There we go. I can see. I've got it. He thought he was going to run away, but he didn't. Go on. That's it. Same again. Primary colour to the top. And in we go. And spread the legs. Now we've got a few resistors in. Now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What I'll do is start to solder them, so it'll be easier to handle the board. So I turn it upside down. I can now put weight on to make sure that they're all flat against the PCB. And what I use for flux in these circumstances is no clean flux in a pen. I get these from a firm called Farnell. I think they're about £8 a go. I've seen them on eBay for ridiculous amounts, but this is the only one that works for me. There are others on eBay. I bought them, didn't like them, never worked properly. So all I do now is give the circuit board where the wire's coming through a little dab on each connection, like that. There we go. It's flooded a little bit, but it's alright. Now, soldering iron. I've got a temperature controlled soldering iron. I've got several, but this one. and at the moment it's set on 320. It's been on for a while. You can see the tip's a bit icky sticky. I use Fluxite, which I've again used since the 1950s. I just give it a little dab. You can see it's brightened up already, the tip. And just for good measure, I use a tip cleaner. That's cleaned it all up nicely. Also, there are these things I use as well, especially in the van when I'm doing my electronics there. These are flux cleaners. It's like a like a tinning paste, and if you screw the tip into it, it cleans it and tins it, which is nice. I'm not using that today. I'm just using my old-fashioned method because I'm old-fashioned. The solder I'm using at the moment is 0.5mm. It's a tin and lead mixture. There's probably some reason why I shouldn't be using it, but that's what I'm using. You don't want your solder to be too heavy. You get too much on the job. So this is how I solder. I'm not saying it's the way to solder, I'm saying it's the way I do it. I flow a bit on the end of the soldering iron like that. Push the board down, and then you've only got to touch it and the solder should flow round the connection. I'll get a bit closer maybe. Closer's not good. This is about as best I can do. Again, just tin the end. That's got a bit on it, it might have enough for this next one. Like that. Pop it on, so it's only on for a second and it's tinned it and soldered it in one. So I move on to the next one. We'll need to put a bit more solder on this time. Just a squirt. Hold it. Pressure. Soldered it. So my contact with the resistor or whatever I'm soldering is very minimal. I prefer this method to putting the soldering iron on it and holding it and then feeding the solder in. I just put a little blob on the soldering iron. So I'm putting pressure on to keep the components all nicely up against the PCB, and just hold it for a second and you see it flows. That one hasn't. You usually see it just flash around. It does now. Didn't have quite enough solder on the end of the iron, obviously. There we go. When you get the quantity of solder right, it just flashes around, and it's a very neat and quick way of doing it. When you get it right. You don't want too much on, but you don't want too little. Lovely jubbly. Right, all those 5 are now soldered in. So we'll get my side cutters, these, and we'll just nip them all off, just to tidy the board up so we can proceed with the next. So just on the solder, clip, 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 clip. And it does a nice clean job. You do need a decent set of side cutters. They're not dear, but they're very sharp. That's it. So that's taken all the wires off the legs, and our components look reasonably tidy on the board. Like that. There's 5. Right, I'll continue with the resistors, and don't get too excited, but I'll fetch you back when I'm doing some capacitors. Right, I've said right again. Isn't there some other bloody word? Right, now, done.